The season will soon be coming to a close for the AST Voltson Super Trucks, with the season finale at Berlin just a couple of weeks away. However, before then, there is one more race to be run, the 50-lap race here at the Terre Haute Action Track today. 25 trucks will be starting the race, although 26 were entered. Scotty Redden was suspended from this race due to the accidents that he caused under caution during the last two races, so 25 trucks will be taking the green. This is still the largest entry list since the Michigan International Speedway, and we might have 26 trucks showing up next week to Berlin as well. And leading the field to the green flag for the second week in a row would be Michael McKinley in the 99M stopped at Lycoya. McKinley, of course, won last week's race at the Galesburg Speedway, in which he led from start to finish, and he seems to have carried that momentum into his home state, here in Indiana. Amberly Weiss had a great qualifying effort. She started on the outside of the front row, but moving into second on the first lap would be Chris Washer, who started in third. Washer needs a good run today to keep his championship hopes alive, and he is off to a good start. However, Washer would soon be passed for the second position by one of the two drivers in the field making their first start today. For you FARC racing fans, this paint scheme and number may look very familiar to you. However, this is not Taylor Brillin, it is her spotter, Eddie Vero. The 29-year-old from Forest Park, Illinois, convinced M&J Racing and Cerno Cooling to support him in this series with his own team, Very Vero Racing, for the final two races of the year. He will be racing next week at Berlin as well, and I'd say he's making a very good first impression by running in the second position. The other driver making their first start today is Ike Durbin in the 86 truck. The TM Master Cup Series driver is making a one-off appearance here in his home state, alongside his younger cousin Riley. Durbin, of course, got his career started in the Arla Thunder truck several years ago, so he's driven in these types of cars before. We're not sure if he's ever raced at Terre Haute, however, and there is 4 wide at the back of the field. Cars are spread out all over the track in these opening laps. You probably noticed how big the pack of cars were that Ike Durbin was in the middle of. And when you get drivers racing this frantically in the opening laps, you can expect problems to occur. And on lap 4, Amberly Weiss gets spun into the outside wall in turn 3. She came down the track at the same time that Tony Cross came up, and they ended up pinching Ike Durbin in the 86. Something had to give in that situation, and unfortunately for Weiss, it was her own truck. She spins into the wall. Caution will not come out. One of the hometown drivers in today's race is Guy Ward in the AK-47. Ward, of course, a regular at this racetrack, but he is having an absolutely terrible showing, at least in the opening stages. He is barely holding on to a spot inside the top 20. Also running at the back with him are Kevin Thompson, both of the SJG trucks, and Rachel Kowalczyk. And considering that these drivers are all dirt track regulars, this is especially surprising. One of the dirt track racers who is having a much better run is Caden Holt in the 83K. He is the other driver in the field from this racetrack. He's raced here at Terre Haute for the last 3 years. Holt just got by Chris Washer for 6th, but he is about to fall back to 7th as Churchill is now getting around him, the 84 truck. Churchill, of course, won the other dirt track this season, the Winston Speedway in Rothbury. Looking at the trucks in front of him on the top of the grandstands, Hunter Blaze is running in 3rd, Mary Brousseau is in 4th, and Chase Everhart is in 5th. We have seen all 3 of these drivers running in the top 5 throughout much of the year. Churchill will move up into the top 5 as he gets around the 91. And at the front of the field, Michael McKinley is extending his lead. No one has shown the pace that McKinley has shown all weekend. The racer from the Bloomington Speedway, another Indiana dirt track, has been absolutely the fastest truck of the weekend for the second week in a row. Amberly Weiss has caught up to Ron Fergus and passed him for the second to last position. Despite Fergus not having run into any troubles all day, he's just as slow as he normally is. Gordon Davis is into the back of Terry Ruiz Jr. in turn 2, trying to move him out of the way despite this being a rather wide racetrack. Davis has a 18-point lead over Darrell Quick heading into today's event, so he's not doing a very good job at making sure that stays safe by running into other cars. He's running in the midfield at the moment. Riley Durbin is running just ahead of Ruiz Jr. and Davis in the 12th spot, and this is the battle for 10th between Rachel Kowalczyk and Brianna Prinzhorn. Kowalczyk originally intended to run the full schedule before deciding to return to a more regular local competition at the Port Huron Dirt Coliseum. She's back though for the final dirt track race of the year. Prinzhorn gets around her for 10th. Eddie Burrow is still running in the 2nd spot and doing a good job at maintaining pace, although Hunter Blaze has been shrinking his lap times and catching up to the back of the 9 truck. He hasn't been able to make a move just yet, but he is not letting the 9 pull away at all. So Still early on in the race though, Blaze being very patient at the moment, although eventually he's going to get to the inside and take over the second position. Now looking at the flyback cam down the back straightaway, there goes McKinley, the leader in the red and white truck, and you can see just how big of a lead he has now over second place Hunter Blaze. Farrell still third, Brousseau fourth, Eberhardt in fifth, and as the rest of the field goes by, you can see they're largely single file at this point, although there is still lots of racing for position all the way around the track as this race is approaching its end. Here comes McKinley again, and you'll notice that he's caught up to Ron Fergus. The 72F not getting out of the way for McKinley, he goes to the inside in turn 3 and quickly gets around him. So Fergus not showing much courtesy for the leaders this week, not that that's anything new. Mary Brousseau is trying to take the third position away from Eddie Verro. This is of course Curtis Sawyers Racing's home race. The team has participated at the Terre Haute Action Track for many decades. Brousseau herself, however, has only raced at this track once before, but she is doing a great job. That team obviously knows how to prepare a car for this racetrack. McKinley now gets around Amberly Weiss to put her a lap down. Weiss, of course, was wrecked earlier on lap 4. And Fergus has now been caught by the rest of the leaders. Hunter Blaze trying to get around him, but Fergus is not moving aside for him. Blaze slipped up in turn 3 trying not to run into him, and Mary Brousseau is going to take full advantage, going to the inside and taking over the second position. Fergus does not give Brousseau any problems as she gets by in turn 1. Just outside the top 5, the 18 truck of Nancy Keith is working her way forward. For the last couple weeks, Keith has found herself towards the front at the end of these races. Perhaps if she had better starts to them, she would have been able to contend for some wins, although she did finish second last week at Galesburg. The next driver to be caught by Michael McKinley would be the AK-47 of Guy Ward. I'm sure that Ward, the hometown hero, does not want to go a lap down in his home race, and he is not going to let the leader by without a fight. Fortunately, McKinley has a huge lead, but I'm sure that he is annoyed by the AK-47 nonetheless. He would eventually clear him. Ward, running in 23rd, having an absolutely embarrassing showing on his home turf. Keith continuing to work her way forward as she now gets on the inside of Ronald Way in the 69. Daryl Quick is running right behind them, so Quick is having a good top 10 run, trying to keep his title hopes alive. Meanwhile, his points rival, the points leader that is, Gordon Davis, is trying to work his way forward. He's running in the midfield. Ike Durbin here slips up in turn 3, and Davis is going to try and take advantage of his error and go by on the inside. He has not been able to pass any trucks for the last half of the race, although he finally gets around the 86. And meanwhile, Michael McKinley has taken the white flag. He has led every lap from start to finish for the last 2 races in a row, and it looks like he's about to do the same here today. Rounding the 4th corner, and in a fantastic show of dominance, Michael McKinley will win the 2nd race in a row in the American Short Trackers Voltson Super Trucks. This makes McKinley the first multi-time winner in the series, and had he raced at Toledo and Nelson Ledges, the 2 races that his team did not participate in, who knows where he would have been in the championship. Congratulations to McKinley. Mary Brousseau finishes in 2nd for the 3rd time this season. She may not have any wins to her name, but obviously that's as close as you can get. Hunter Blaze finishes in 3rd, also for the 3rd time this season. So Brousseau and Blaze probably 2 of the best drivers that have no wins yet. Eddie Verro finishes in 4th on debut. We're not sure if he's ever driven a race car before today, but a 4th place finish is something to be very proud of. Great job to Verro. Chase Eberhardt finishes in 5th. That is his 4th top 5 and just his 5th start. So consistency is something that the 91 team is very good at this season, despite not running all the races. Nancy Keith has another good run. She finishes in 6th, right in front of Eberhardt's teammate Ronald Way. Daryl Quick and Zach Churchill finish in 8th and 9th respectively. Those are 2 of the points contenders, and they both beat the points leader Gordon Davis. And rounding out the top 10 is Rachel Kowalczyk returning for this race. The next race for the AST Voltson Super Trucks will be the Voltson Marne 100, the season finale for the 2014 season, and here are your championship title contenders heading into that race. The most points that you'll be able to gain or lose on another driver in the 21 truck field is 68, and these are the 4 drivers who are less than that away from Gordon Davis, who sits on 586 points. Daryl Quick is a mere 6 points behind in 2nd. That is worth 3 positions on track. Zach Churchill is 3rd, only 19 points back, and John White, 61 points back, is a long shot to win the title. White must win the race if he is to have a chance at winning the championship. After a very exciting season thus far, it is all soon to come to a close at the Berlin Raceway.